afterwards. However, I'm a little bit nervous because tonight, while this is normally the kind of the looser going into the weekend thing, we have a very, very difficult subject matter at hand, which is the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And that's why we've got that on the foot. So it's not going to be as light and fluffy. And in fact, when we go into the Discord after dark party, which is where we have a few drinks and we get a little looser, I would actually ask us to pocket, if we can, possibly that discussion in the after dark party, because it's one of these emotionally charged situations. And if you've ever watched me before, you know that my primary focus is Idaho 4, Brian Koberger's case, Luigi Mangione in New York City, and the Long Island serial killer. If you haven't seen it, by the way, this week we had an amazing interview with John Ray and the Long Island serial killer case. I'm going to New York. I'm going to meet John Ray here in just a few weeks. I've got crazy shit already lining up in New York. It's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. If you're in at all to the Long Island serial case, you don't want to miss that. Brian Koberger's case is a little cool at the moment, but there's things that are going on there. I just did a video about the differences between Pavarotti and I. Most of you who watch Idaho 4, you are a big Pavarotti fan. I explained some of those. I got some people, I said, hey, you know, I get it when people are like, hey, Devil's Advocates, have you watched the new Pavarotti video? Yes, I've watched the new Pavarotti video, of course. But so we dusted that a little bit today. But we have this big shooting in front of us, and it's a Luigi Mangione tie-in, believe it or not. And it's funny because I just said today that I try to be a little slower with my response. Like I digest things a little bit. And so I don't want to be too quick. And yet I was a little quick. And in fact, let me show you what I was a little quick with. I think I've got it on. Oh shit, did I not load that up? Hold on, I'm going to show you something real quick on screen. And unfortunately, you're only going to be able to see this on the Y side because we don't have screen sharing turned on. I'm working out the technical difficulties on the T platform so that we can show it all. But that's a long story. But I'm going to see if I can pull this up. I thought I had it already done. Oh yeah, I think it is. I already had it. Why did I not think I had it? I'm going to add this to stage on one side. I'm going to remove this. Oops, I'm going to add that to stage. All right. So if you can see this, I had this thumbnail for members only on the Y side, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I gave some opinions about why I believe that's a straight up assassination, not just some random person who's upset with Charlie Kirk's mission. By the way, we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk if you don't know who he is. And I'm going to tell you why this relates to Luigi Mangione, because I believe this has all the markings to be very, very, very quickly tied to Luigi Mangione. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you one article from NPR, National Public Radio. And they're down the middle. They're not American mainstream spoon-fed media, as John Ray would have said it last night when he said the media is spoon-fed media. No, NPR is pretty down the middle, and already the Luigi Mangione tie-ins are impossible to ignore. But on the member-only video, I put out a video that was a video clip of the actual assassination. It was graphic. That's why it's got a parental advisory label right there in the corner of my thumbnail, as well as I've got a parental advisory in the corner here. We'll be careful to not graphically describe things, and I will not show tonight the actual assassination. However, on the member-only video for a very small group, I showed the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I showed how I believe that there was two individuals behind him who called in that shot. They were doing hand signals and tipping the hat, pointing to the ear, doing things with their arm, and calling in the shot before the shot was taken. Now, I posted that video very, very quickly and said, holy shit, look at these guys behind here signaling the shot to be taken. This is a political assassination. And someone lost their mind on my members channel and said, no, that's his security detail. Take that down. And I'm like, well, the problem is even a person's security detail can be called in on an assassination. I still stick to my mind that that is an assassination, and that likely was called in on those shot. I have lots of reasons to say that. I broke that down in detail in the members only area. By the way, before we get too far, and I swear to God, I never take a breath. So that's just something you're going to have to learn with. But the point being is that you need to, on the Y side, make sure you've got gift memberships turned on, because it is not uncommon for people in my channel to pay for a membership for you for a month. So if you want to see my breakdown of the actual assassination with the people who are being called in, calling the shot in my opinion, you can see that on the members only area. It is graphic. I have plenty of warnings before I show it and say, by the way, turn this off now if you don't want to see this. This is a person having their life ended on camera, and it's not pretty. It's not super graphic either, but it's not pretty, and it can be disturbing. However, I've been hearing stories about children, young individuals who are seeing it on TikTok and X and whatever, because it's just out there. I didn't grow up in that age where we got to see something very, very violent like that at a young age, but they're already seeing it. But I still will try to say plenty of warnings, even for the adults. Plenty of warnings. It's a little rough to watch, but we're going to talk about that tonight. And I just want to make sure and give a moment for breath. Robin and Kimberly. Kimberly, I haven't heard you say something. Are you there, Kimberly? I swear I heard Kimberly's mic earlier, so I'm thinking she should be there. Kimberly. So it looks like Kimberly's not has audio, which is really weird because I see her in the lower corner. I heard her earlier. Oh, I hear Kimberly now. Thank you. I hear you, Kimberly. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, yeah, that's okay. What I need both of you guys, and I know it's weird for you audience listening. I've got two different moderators who are audibly in my ear to help bring to my attention comments because I can't read multiple screens. I'm working on all of this, but right now we got Kimberly in one ear on the T platform and Robin on the other ear. So what I want to do is have you guys, and if you're on the Y side, you're going to hear Robin. You probably won't. Well, I guess if you're on the T side, you hear Kimberly as well. So I want to take just a moment. Do either one of you have anything for me on either side of those platforms that I need to address before I get in further?
May I address something? I would just like to ask people to be respectful of each other tonight. I know this subject can be a little touchy, but please, we're here for a different reason than politics. So please be nice with each other in the chat, and please be respectful of DA. Okay.
All right. So we'll talk a little bit. That was what I just experienced. What I just experienced was one of the nutbaggish things I've ever had. Robin was giving a warning on the Y side about making sure we keep our emotions down, and Kimberly was giving me a full-on question on the T side about the angle that the shot came in. And somehow my ass was able to get both of you at the same time. In the future, I will probably ask one or the other you to go because I heard you both talking at the same time, and I don't even know how I multitasked that shit. But so. Here's the question that came from the T side of the platform, which was about the angle of the shot. Now, one of the things I want to say as we get into this, and I will very quickly get into the Luigi Mangione tie-in, so I want you to understand that. But what I do agree that the shooter who took the shot, and let me, on the Y side, we're going to take a look at a graphic. I'm going to pull a graphic up on your screen for you. This graphic, which you may be able to see on the Y side, shows this baseball diamond looking shape down here. That's the actual awning area where Kirk was sitting, Charlie Kirk. We're going to explain a little bit who Charlie. I realize I'm getting ahead of myself by talking about the assassination before I talk about who Charlie Kirk is. But anyways, he was sitting there on a college campus giving a speech like he does. Charlie Kirk basically does a lot of college campus talks. He's a political thinker. He's very conservative. This is where people get really upset. It's a very political issue. And what I want to make sure you understand is on this platform, we're not focused on the politics. What I focus on at the Devil's Advocates is narrative, countering the narrative. So I play devil's advocates with the narrative. The narrative is quickly going to become, this is a crazy liberal who waged war on the conservative party. And it's going to become this whole political scheme about liberals versus conservatives. And that's going to how this is going to probably play out in the media. And I'm going to play the devil's advocates. What if that was a straight up assassination because of other things that Kirk was exposing and talking about? Who wanted Charlie Kirk to shut his mouth, and was he assassinated by high up level individuals? He was a threat to President Trump, believe it or not. Even though he was a conservative and he's a MAGA supporter, he was a threat to Donald Trump. And the reason being is because, and I'm all over the place, but this is all from my notes tonight. Kirk was looking into the Jeffrey Epstein files, and he was critical of the way that the government continues to hide who was on the Jeffrey Epstein files, who visited Jeffrey Epstein. If you aren't familiar with Jeffrey Epstein, who, by the way, 100% was a murder, not a suicide, in my opinion, and you're thinking, boy, did Devil's Advocates just go conspiracy theory? No. Let me refresh your mind. Devil's Advocates uses high-profile cases to be critical of mainstream media, law enforcement, and our judicial system. And I teach things about the system by using these high-profile cases. This case is a massive high-profile case, and it's got all kinds of stuff involved in it. It's not all conspiracy theory. It's telling you the stories behind the stories. And then we can learn a crap ton about how the government hides things from us, about how mainstream media hides the narrative, who try to get us to look left or right, literally, politically, instead of looking at what's really happening in this situation. So I have theories about what's happening, and I'm going to talk about that. But in my video, I said, going back to this video that I got in trouble for. In the video, I said that this was a long-range shot from 250 yards. An individual told me, oh my God, 250 yards is not that long range. True. As it turns out, the shot they're telling us the shooter actually took was 150 yards, so much shorter than even I had thought. I was told 250 yards. Now it's 150 yards. There is, as Kimberly was saying on the TikTok side or the T side, see, I shouldn't say that shit. They're going to get in trouble. On the T side, yes, there are indications the shot came from a different angle from where the shooter was. And again, that would be typical of an assassination, is misdirection, making you think it came from one direction when it really came from another direction. That's a whole nother thing. And the people behind him who called in the shot, I think they were out of the line of the range, or the line of sight, if you will, because the shot came from probably a different angle than what the actual shooter is. But let's put that aside. That sounds nutbaggish. Let's put that aside. But I just wanted to show the graphic. That shot is relatively a straight-on shot. I think the shot came from an angle, as Kimberly was saying on the T platform. So great observation from the audience over there on that side. So let's talk a little bit about, again, what mainstream media is likely to say. They're going to paint this as a radical who wants to shut up Charlie Kirk because he is against LGBTQ issues, is an ultra religious person, has all kinds of racist beliefs, has been supportive of people dying by gun violence, and that's okay in certain circumstances. He says a lot of things that really ruffle a lot of people's feathers. Now, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to defend Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk is a intellectual, and he goes to college campuses and he takes college students on one-on-one and lets them have their piece. I have always seen Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, be respectful for people. Yes, does he shred people in arguments? Yes, because he's really educated and has a lot of facts before he comes in. He's not dumb. He comes in loaded with facts. So he can beat you with facts very, very easily and make you look dumb. But the point being is he does it respectfully most of the time. Somebody decided, oh, Robin's like, I'm not sure about that shit.
No. I think Kimberly's trying to get your attention.
Oh, Kimberly's got my attention. Okay. Go ahead, Kimberly. Robin's going to be quiet. Kimberly's going to talk in my ear. Go ahead. Oh, Kimberly got shut off on the stream. She's saying I need to bring her up. Pardon moi while we work out a small technical difficulty. This is something we're still working on the side. So I'm going to bring Kimberly up. She probably doesn't even need to say anything. She just needs to get back. Okay. Kimberly's back on the T side. I do hear you, Kimberly. All right. Are we good? No worries. Yep. All right. Continuing on. So Charlie Kirk, like I said, he goes to college campuses. He was rallying a large, young, conservative base, of which it was becoming a threat because, and I don't want to get super conspiratorial. Please understand, I'm not into the Republican versus Democrat thing. I used to be. So if you dig far enough in my past, you're like, you're a liar, DA. I see that you're used to. That's used to be. I'm not political anymore. I think all sides are horrific. But the point being is that there was allegations, of course, that Donald Trump had visited Epstein's island, that people don't want the list of the people who went to Epstein's. If you don't know about Epstein allegedly ran young girls for high-ranking people, politicians, would provide young girls to them. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but the people who visited Epstein's private island that was outside U.S. jurisdiction and had no jurisdictional coverage would be able to do anything they wanted on his private island, including illegal activities. I know that would never happen, but allegedly that did happen, and eventually somebody got blackmailed or whatever, and they decided to take him out, and so he decided to kill himself when guards decided to look the other way, and the cameras decided to malfunction, and all these things, perfect storm, and then he had a sudden moment of remorse and hung himself in his cell. Bullshit. That was a murder, and we've been trying to cover it up ever since, and the government is trying to cover it up, and the Department of Justice is trying to cover it up, and the FBI wants to cover it up, and here comes Charlie Kirk, an up-and-coming political figure that's moving entire college campuses to pay attention to him, and he's getting their attention. And he's like, look, I'm putting the pressure on. You need to make those Epstein files more transparent. This has been coming out more and more in the news, and then somebody shot him in the neck or in the head. Now, is it just a liberal? Is it just as simple as that? Or is it something much, much deeper? Here's where the Luigi Mangione stuff comes in. You've waited really patiently. So let me bring in the Luigi Mangione thing. And again, I have to apologize to the T side on not being able to see what I'm going to present on screen. But what I'm going to present on screen is an article from NPR, And I want you to put, and if you may have to been watching my coverage of Luigi Mangione for a while to appreciate the game references. Because I'm trying to remove something from the screen so I can pull something else up on the screen. Pardon-moi. There we go. There's the news article. NPR, National Public Radio. This is the suspect in the Charlie Kirk killing has been arrested. By the way, I should have put his picture up on screen. We'll do that. I'm going to back up. That is the shooter, allegedly. So again, if you haven't seen it, again, I'm sorry on the T side, you don't get to see that. This individual, I said early on, this is going to be a young man in his 20s who's the shooter. It always is. It almost always is. So I knew it was going to be a young man in his 20s. Here we go, young man in his 20s. That's the MO of all of these kind of assassination attempts or whatever. So here he is. He's a young, good-looking guy. Immediately, people were making some kind of references. Oh, it's another good-looking kid like Luigi Mangione, allegedly, who shot Brian Thompson in New York City. That's not even remotely close to how far this is going to go towards Luigi Mangione as we pull up the NPR article. So the suspect in Charlie Kirk's killing has been arrested. Here's what we know. Among the items that investigators are examining are bullet casings with messages inscribed on them. He had engraved words on bullet casings. Right there, a Luigi Mangione tie-in. Now, if you recall, Tamara was an individual who shot. Sorry, what was that, Kimberly? Yeah, so just to take a moment, like I said, I realize that some of you don't get to hear the questions from the other side. There was a question about whether or not I'm saying that Charlie Kirk is a bully. I'm not making those kind of comments. I'm saying people make those comments. A lot of people do not like Charlie Kirk because he says things that ruffle feathers. So I'm not making a statement. I'm not telling you whether I think Charlie Kirk is a bully or a bad person or a horrible human being or deserves to be shot or any of that shit. I'm just telling you that's how people feel about this man. He's very, very polarizing. So anyways, if you remember in the shooting of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York, a case that I followed for a long time, the shooter allegedly had engraved bullets that said delay, deny, depose, something to that effect. Those wording actually were different depending on which news report you got because the law enforcement officers actually got it wrong and put it in print wrong. But the idea was those words allegedly were to hearken to a book about the insurance industry, delay, deny, defend, whatever. It was the idea that insurance companies deny your claims to try to make their companies and their shareholders more money. And so the shooting in New York of Brian Thompson was related to deny, delay, depose because the bullets were engraved with this message. Early on, that shooter, whoever shot Brian Thompson, which allegedly is now a Luigi Mangione, they say, fled the shooting scene in New York into Central Park and left a backpack full of Monopoly money, which was a game reference. And they were like, well, that's weird. Why Monopoly money? And then later on, Luigi Mangione, when he was discovered 5 days later in Pennsylvania, they found that he had an X account or Twitter account in which he had a Pokemon character, Breloom, which every Pokemon has a number. 286 is the number of Pokemon, Breloom. And so he had that on his screen, big deal. But the last post made on Luigi Mangione's X account before it was shut down was post number 286. So people said, what the hell? Is that a coincidence that Breloom is 286 and the last post is 286? So then people started looking up, what does 286 mean in the health insurance industry? It's the denial of claims code when your appeals have run out. So if you appeal, so if you're trying to get something covered and under your medical plan and they deny you, you have a 30-day window to appeal their denial. After 30 days, you get a code 286, which is sorry, your time's run out. That claim is completely rejected. It's done. And I said, as well as several others, isn't it interesting that Luigi Mangione is a gamer? He literally was from the University of Pennsylvania. He co-founded a gaming club called Upgrade, the University of Pennsylvania Game Research and Development Environment, or something to that effect. I hope I got the acronym right. Upgrade, Game Research and Development Environment. He was a co-founder, him and one other individual. That Upgrade program still exists. It's for gamers to design games. Luigi Mangione is a big gamer. There's videos of Luigi Mangione playing video games, competing in video games, winning video games at contests. He's a video game kind of guy. And then here comes a Monopoly reference and a Pokemon reference. And I said to myself, what's going on here? Is Luigi Mangione literally playing games with this shooting? Is he leaving gaming references? And there's much, much more. Where he was arrested in Pennsylvania. If you remember, McDonald's used to be a big part of the Monopoly game. McDonald's had a big Monopoly game that ran for forever. And the Pennsylvania Railroad went through Altoona, Pennsylvania, where he was arrested. The hotel that he supposedly was trying to check into is a famous hotel in the establishment of the Pennsylvania Railroad. All of those things began certain people like myself to say, is there a set of gamers, a group of gamers who were involved in that shooting? And it was kind of a crazy theory, but we've continued to hold on to it. Well, hold on to your hats on this. Shit, don't mean to borrow a Pavarotti statement. Hold on to your hats, folks. This is going to blow your mind. Sorry, Pavarotti reference, not to be insulting to Pavarotti, but that's what he says all the time. So that's one of these moments. Watch what happens. So now we have another shooter, a shooter of Kirk, who has engraved bullets. And I thought to myself, it's only going to take a matter of moments before the media starts tying this to Luigi Mangione. Well, we're going to have it right here in NPR's article, who's going to mention Luigi Mangione at the very end, just like I said. So we've got engraved bullets. Robinson's, this is the shooter. Robinson confessed or implied that he was the gunman. His dad called it in, by the way. His dad recognized his son supposedly and called it in, according to one story. Cox said investigators interviewed a family member who said that Robinson had become more political in recent years. That's the official narrative. This is going to be the narrative. He became more radicalized, more political. He's a liberal. He decided to shoot a conservative. That's all it's about. People, whatever. They talked about why he also didn't like the viewpoints of Kirk that he had. And the family member also stated that Kirk was full of hate and spreading hatred. So this guy decided the best way to deal with hate is to hate somebody and fucking kill him. That's my side rant. I don't understand how violence is how you solve violence. But anyways, that's what supposedly happened. Cox said investigators also spoke with Robinson's roommates who showed authorities messages that he had allegedly wrote on the social media platform Discord. There's your first gaming reference. Discord is a heavy gaming platform. That's why it started. Discord was for gamers, by gamers, for gamers. That's how it was created. Small, but we're just getting started on the gaming references. In those messages, individuals believe that Robinson says that he needs to retrieve a rifle from a drop point and stated the firearm was wrapped in a towel. Then they point out that they did find a rifle in a towel, so on and so on. They talk about the gun, which, by the way, is just a bolt action rifle. Early on, I heard it's an AR assault type rifle. That's always the narrative when you first have a shooting. It's an assault type rifle. It was one shot. I've also heard news reports say shots were fired. There was one shot fired from a bolt action rifle. But for a while, already the media was trying to span this is an AR assault rifle that did it once again. That's not what this case is going to be. But anyways, here's the casings. The writing on the single spent casing said, notices bulges, OWO, what's this? What the fuck does that mean? My old ass had to look this up. Oh, I know OWO is kind of like the owl thing. Gamers use it to like open wide. Usually you have a lowercase W in between the OWO. So it looks like an owl with the big wide eyes. So this person notices bulges, wide-eyed, what's this? That's the message on that bullet. One of the unfired casings said, hey, fascist, catch, along with arrow symbols. That also is a gaming reference. Gamers who play games where it's like you're fragging each other with frag grenades and stuff like that will type those into gaming messages. It's a common online thing. Hey, fascist, catch this. And then they have arrows pointing to a bomb or a grenade or whatever they're about to throw at you. That's a gaming reference. This is another gaming reference. So you have a couple of gaming references already here. This other reference on another bullet, oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, 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 which could be a gaming reference because there are many references to games that use the Bella Chow song. They listed Metal Gear Solid, several, but one of the big ones was a Money Heist video, and it became super popular in the gaming community to use this phrase, the Bella Chow reference. So this is a gaming reference. So here we go now with an individual who's good looking, fit, 20-something-year-old, just like Luigi Mangione, using gaming references in the shooting. And already I'm like, here we go. They're going to start to say, is this a bigger thing? They've already said Luigi Mangione inspired the shooting in New York by tomorrow at the NFL headquarters, whatever it was. It wasn't their headquarters. It was one of their operating offices, I believe. They already said, well, some people say he's good. Michelle's like, he's good looking. I don't know. Maybe this picture is not the best looking of him but there's some pictures where he looks like he's a relatively good looking guy. Somebody said he was good looking. I don't know. I'm not one to judge, but So they said that the early analysis of the bullet's inscriptions by internet extremist researchers suggests that someone is deeply immersed in niche online meme and gaming cultures, where the irony is often used to obscure ideological leanings. So again, the tie-ins are already starting to get laid. Luigi Mangione used gaming references, the Monopoly money, the Pokemon 284. He was part of a gaming club. Now we have another shooting by another individual, same basic age, using gaming references in the gaming community. It doesn't take a stretch to see where they're going to end up probably going with this. With a suspect in custody, Cox used the occasion to warn of the dangers of political violence, calling Kirk's assassination a watershed in American history. This is a moment where we can go one way or another. We can become more violent or less violent. Is somebody trying to get my attention? I heard some noise in the background. No. All right. I mean, oh, yeah. Well, no yelling at cats on live TV. Come on. So anyways, so let's continue on just to the, I think it's down here. Robinson's arrest. Here it comes. Robinson's arrest. That's Tyler Robinson's arrest comes roughly 33 hours. Oh shit. I'm going to avoid the Freemasonry references because some of you are going to be like 33 hours. That's super interesting. We'll save that for another show. Robinson's arrest came roughly 33 hours after the shooting, according to the timeline provided by Patel. In contrast, it took some 5 days for authorities to arrest Luigi Mangione, the man charged with the killing of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December. So there you go. The article talks about all the gaming references. It's already tied in. Many people have said there's similarities. He's dressed in black. He's got a backpack. He's got shoes that look similar to Luigi Mangione. People have even made the reference. I made a reference a long time ago about it. Luigi Mangione. I said, what if Luigi Mangione is only player 2 and player 1 is still out there? Maybe the real shooter isn't Luigi. He's just player 2, Luigi, and player 1's still out there. Some people have already made memes saying they just found player 1, that this was player 1, and that these guys are related to each other. I do not personally, for this moment, I do not personally believe that these two individuals are linked. But I just want to say right off the bat, my mind tells me it's not going to be long before you see mainstream media trying to paint Luigi Mangione and this guy as two peas in a pod. And Trump has already come on TV and stated this man needs to be put to death. I hope they put him to death, as he has directed the federal government, Pam Bondi, in Luigi Mangione's case, to put Luigi Mangione to death, because they believe that Luigi Mangione is, at this moment, one of the best examples of the kind of person who needs to be put to death. And now we have a second person. I hope they put these two gentlemen to death. And the question becomes, at the end of the day, what do you guys think? Is there any connection between these two shooters? Is it a cover up for something else that's going on, like the Jeffrey Epstein pressure that he was putting on to reveal what politicians are on that list of names who went to Epstein's island? They're hiding the names of the people who have been involved with Epstein and Epstein's girls, because they don't want you to know people like Bill Gates that frequented Epstein's place. Did you know that there's a weird ass story about Epstein, or about Bill Gates and his wife getting divorced after she found out he had visited Epstein multiple cases at times, and all of a sudden she's filing for divorce? I wonder what she was. Maybe it's not related whatsoever. I'm just saying those kind of things are out there for you to research if you haven't ever looked into it. The point being is, I don't want to get too conspiratorial because it's a little outside the purview of this show, but we do use high profile cases like this to pay attention to the nuances and show where law enforcement's probably going to look the other way. They're going to get narrow focused on one guy. They're going to take the easy answer, a political nutbag who have been radicalized. It's going to be left versus right. It's going to foment more anger in the country, to look the other way for what's really going on, which might be something much more dark and sinister. And if you're curious to see, again, my analysis. Okay, hold on. We're getting some questions from Kimberly on the T side, so give me a moment to listen to her questions. Go ahead again. Yeah. Yeah, so what's being said on the TikTok side, the T side, shit, I got to stop that. On the T side, we're getting comments from people that they don't believe that was the actual shooter, that this young man, Tyler Robinson, is the shooter, that shot came from a different angle. I tend to agree that I think I tend to agree that's very likely that shot came from a different direction. People know the term patsy. By the way, I want to tease something that's coming up on this show. While I want to focus on the main cases, Idaho 4, Idaho 4, the Luigi Mangione case and the Long Island serial killer case. I want to focus on those cases, but we have another show that I'm going to spin off once every couple of weeks with an individual. We're going to talk about the deeper issues, things like what a psyop is, what government conspiracies are, what assassinations look like from government black ops, because they are sometimes at the back end of some of these high profile cases. So we're going to break that down a little bit less often because I don't want to make it the main focus of my show, but that's going to be coming up. We've got a tentative name for that. We got a tentative date. I'll reveal more about that later. As far as the shot goes, by the way, that individual who is a bit of a researcher, that individual pointed out this. Do you remember seeing, if you've been watching this case of Charlie Kirk, if you remember seeing, there was an old gentleman. I hate saying old because he's probably younger than me. Fuck, I don't know. But anyways, there was an older gentleman who was bald, in glasses, that was bent over with a bunch of cops around him, and he was handcuffed, hands behind his back, and they said, "We got the shooter," and his picture was posted all over the place, video was posted all over the place. Turned out that he was not the shooter, and they let him go. There was another individual that they arrested shortly afterwards, said, "We got the shooter again." That also turned out to not be him. Now, I don't want to get too... Yeah, what I don't want to get too far into is, I normally research this a lot more, but I remembered the name and the guy told me that particular individual, if it's true, we'll look him up. But that individual who was arrested with the balding man with the glasses happened to be one of the first people to see the planes hit the Twin Towers on December 11th. He was one of the people that called in the Boston Marathon bombing, I think. He happens to be somehow the most lucky fucking man in the world who's on scene at major events in our country. And somebody put the odds of him being at this shooting at about 1 in 2 billion. Now, I haven't verified the numbers. I haven't verified that that's the person, but when they said the name, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy's name. He's a famous guy from back in the Twin Towers. If that guy keeps showing up at major events, pay attention. That was all I got to say about that.
Haley, Chappie Boss gave you a super chat a little bit ago.
So I'm getting told by both Y and T that I've been getting nice gifts on both platforms at the same time. So I super appreciate that. I think I got a cowboy hat on the T side. I got another gift super chat on the Y side. So for Leah, I really want to say I apologize that I'm not calling you out necessarily by name. It's super hard in the format that we're doing. I will try to get better at this. All of those gifts and stuff like that are super beneficial to the channel. So thank you so much for showing your appreciation on both sides. Let me take a moment to just ask only Robin, is there anything on the Y side that I have out there waiting for me to address?
No, not right now. I just wanted to thank Chappie.
Chappie Boss on the Y side's been dropping some love on this side as usual. Chappie, thank you so much for checking in and giving me some love as always. You're a super supporter. How about Kimberly on the T side? Nothing? Did she go quiet?
Oh,
Leah,
we got some memberships going out.
Leah and Inherent Question on the T side are giving gifts. Everything Me and I have some talking to do. Everything Me and I have just gifted 10 memberships. And Peppermint on the, a heart. I'm just gonna shut the stream down and walk away. My job's done. I think I got paid today. just kidding. I appreciate that so much. I really do appreciate the love on both sides. We're really trying to get the T side back involved again, and so this is a trial balloon as we continue to try to improve this platform. But thank you so much for that, for on both sides. And again, on the membership side, Everything Me had gifted memberships. And again, on the Y side, I need to remind you, if you missed out, first of all, let me explain something on the Y side. Those memberships are paid for by that individual. He paid or she paid their own money to do that for you, and it gives you a free month of my membership. There's no commitment necessary. However, you do need to have turned on the option to receive gifts. And again, it's not a commitment. They're not going to start auto charging your card at the end of 1 month. You'll be asked, do you want to continue this membership or not? It's not going to just auto charge you, but that costs Everything Me money to support the channel. So please, and again, YouTube assigns that not randomly. YouTube uses an algorithm of some kind to decide who's been watching my channel the most, who's most invested, who's most likely to take advantage of that membership, and it signs those people first. So we have no control over who gets those memberships. If you got one, it's kind of like a lottery system, but it's based on algorithms and metrics and all that shit that we don't even see behind the scenes. All right, so we talked about the big thing, which is, again, the shooting of Kirk. I want to remind you again, highly political situation. Charlie Kirk is a very, very extreme individual that manages to make people feel very, very emotional about things. What I don't want to see happen is this degrade into, F it, he had that coming. We don't do that with Brian Thompson either. We try to keep that a little on the down low, but we do want to talk about how mainstream media tries to shape the narrative in this country and make you think a certain way about it instead of letting us think like adults and ask our own questions. Why did this happen? Is there a bigger question? Why, media, are you not asking the bigger question? If you saw, by the way, my interview with John Ray, attorney of 43 years, who's representing the family of Shannon Gilbert in the Long Island serial killer case, he said the same thing. Media is spoon-fed and they will not ask the difficult questions. They are spoon-fed and they are told what they're allowed to ask questions, and they will not go against that script. So if you're watching CNN, you're watching Fox, you're watching News Nation, you're getting spoon-fed media coverage. They're never going to ask the difficult questions. They know what the talking points are. They know where their guidelines are, and they won't stray from it. So I try to use my platform as the devil's advocate. Since you won't ask that question, what if it was this? And yes, I get kicked in the balls for that from time to time. Devil's advocate, you disrespectful asshole. Why are you asking that question? Because I'm not a sheep and I don't all night long repeating the same shit you can hear on TV. If you want that, turn my show off and go watch CNN and Fox. So anyways, what else do we have? I got some other things on tap. I guess we could talk a little bit as we get ready to move into the evening. And again, I got the After Dark show. By the way, can you guys, either one of you able to put up the stream or the link for the Discord channel so that people who want to join on the After Dark party, it's a voice channel in Discord. So Kimberly might do it. Hopefully some of you guys can get it figured out. Just look for Devil's Advocates on Discord. You hopefully can find me. Here's a great way to find it as well, I think. devilsadvocates.info is a website. It's my main website. I'll put it on screen for a moment so you can take a peek at it, I think. Oh, I think I just have to do this. There you go. Well, again, I guess that doesn't do shit because, again, on the Y side, on the T side, where you can't get the link, I'm showing you the website. devilsadvocates.info. Sorry, devilsadvocates.info. I think I even said it wrong earlier. devilsadvocates.info is my website. And on there, I think, will be a link to our Discord channel as well. So we tend to have on Fridays, we have a channel called After Dark. We have a few drinks. Perfect. Leah's dropping bombs on the T side and dropping links on the T side. We need to go for a drink. Anyways, let's talk a little bit as we ease out of the night. I want to do two things. I want to cover CrimeCon, which I recently got back on, a little bit of Idaho 4. It'll be brief compared to what we just did. One, by the way, on YouTube just gifted another 10 memberships. So like 20 people got a chance to get memberships tonight. There's a bunch of people on the Y side. So those might go out to the great things. Thank you again for everything, me and for one for dropping those out. So let's talk a little bit about CrimeCon. For those who do not know, by the way, there was another shooting, and I should have mentioned this early. There was another shooting recently in by Aurora, Colorado. I was in Aurora, Colorado for the CrimeCon. It was actually called CrimeCon Denver. If you're following the Idaho 4 case, and if you follow my channel, you will know that CrimeCon this year happened to be a gigantic promotional vehicle for Othram Labs, which at the CrimeCon was trying to suggest that somehow they got Brian Kohberger identified in 5 days after getting the DNA. Somebody's lying, because the official story is that Idaho couldn't get to Brian Kohberger, and so they turned it over to Othram. Othram on the 22nd of November got a hold of the DNA. They couldn't develop it to Brian Kohberger. They developed it to 4 brothers in Pennsylvania, none of which had the name Kohberger. The FBI told Othram to stop their work, and they took over from Othram, and they developed it to Brian Kohberger. But at CrimeCon, They got up on stage and said, by the way, we had Bryan Kohberger in 5 days. They got a huge round of applause. They made money pitches. Hey, give us more money because we need to make Othram Lab be the standard in law enforcement across the country. We've now proven we can solve cases in real time. We can catch people in real time. They're bragging up a thing, and they're using Stacy Chapin and Jim Chapin as the face of Othram Labs. They're going to go all over the country talking about the story of Ethan Chapin and the mother and how Othram Labs got her basically penance and got revenge for her by getting the guy that killed her son. The whole story is really, really a stretch. And I've covered it at length. If you want to catch that stuff, check out my videos on those. And I realize I'm not trying to tell you, for those who don't know, I'm not trying to tell you that Bryan Kohberger is not guilty in any way, shape, or form. Let's not forget that he has pled guilty to the crimes and will spend the remainder of his life in jail unless a complete miracle happens. And that's just the way it's going to be. But many of us know, or I should say, believe, there's no way that story happened the way that they said it did. Bryan Kohberger, if he's involved, did not do it alone. I'm convinced of it. He had help. He had co-conspirators. They're all going to walk because we accepted the easy answer in America. And they did the typical maneuver, which is that 95% of the time, people accept plea deals and there's never a trial. So you'll never see what really happened because there's never a trial. And that's by design. They don't want you to find out what else happened. They don't want you to know about the other people. And those people get to walk, maybe even get celebrated as heroes because we wanted the easy answer. It's just easy to say, hey, he's a creepo. Look, we got him. Everybody feels better. They go to bed at night. Long Island serial killer case. Like I said, I'm going to be going to New York in a few weeks. I'm going to meet up again with John Ray in New York. I've got an NYPD police officer who's going to take me around. We're going to personally. I've got people that are involved in the Long Island serial killer case that are on the backside. I can't even tell you about that might be taking me around Long Island. I got crazy shit lined up for a small channel. We're a small channel, and we've already got crazy shit lined up. I've had attorneys on the show. I've got an attorney that's a friend of the show. She's in a couple of murder cases right now, and she's just busy as shit. So we haven't had her on for a while. But yeah, we've got a lot going on. What was that, Kimberly? Oh, no, it's okay. It's all good. Robin, do we have anything on the Y side?
Not at the moment.
All right. I want to now open up the floor to questions and answers. I don't know how to best do this. So maybe if either Robin or Kimberly have a question to read me, let me acknowledge you so that the other person shuts up and I can listen to one question at a time. Do either one of you have any questions going on either side?
Nicola wants to know if you saw Nancy Grace today.
Hold on, Robin.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so I didn't tell Robin that I was listening to Kimberly. That was my bad. But so let me address Kimberly's question, comment, and then I'll get to Robin's question or comment. So yes, I do think there's a high probability. I personally would say there's a high probability this is not a lone gunman, that the individuals standing behind Kirk, if you watch the video, the very graphic video in some regards that I have on my members only area, you will see an individual in a white cap who may be his security detail. So one of my members told me this. Hey, that's his own security detail. I get it. That may indeed. But let me tell you what happened. And you tell me. So he's holding a cell phone, which I have hinted could be a triangulation type thing. But using the phone in a certain way, it was a way to sight in things. That could be a possibility. It wasn't that terribly long of a shot. I'll give that to my member as well. Not a terribly long shot. In fact, to the argument that it's still a professional from that range, that would be an almost certain kill shot. That it is a good enough range where a professional could be guaranteed to make that shot. It's not like a long 1,000-meter shot or something like that where you got to hope that you get a good shot. You're likely to get it, but this is a shot that would be cake for somebody who's trained. Hunters, however, probably hunted that range. So, and I would argue this from the logistics as I get back to the multiple people involved. Hunters usually shooting animals, not another human being. A lot of us will flinch up, I think. I don't know. I haven't had a lot of experience shooting human beings, but a lot of us don't want to shoot another human being. And so maybe you could say that it's not common for us. The human mind doesn't necessarily want to kill another human being. So that would lead to inaccuracies. But this person nailed that shot. So I think it was, I think when you watch the individuals behind behind him. It has the telltale signs, in my opinion, of something being called in. An individual with a white cap tips his hat, tips his ear. A guy with a black shirt steps up and makes hand gestures on his arm, and then the shot cracks and it's over. And again, they probably are security detail. They do definitely look like security. They're fit men, the right age. They look security. And it may have been. What were they signaling in? That's what we need to ask. That's what mainstream media needs to ask. Who are those individuals and what were they signaling in? Will we hear about that or will they let that go? So, and again, in my mind, that was an operation that was called in. And that's just my opinion. Now, again, I've got everything me on the Y side is going to be like, oh my God, I just gave gift memberships, you asshole. I get it. We can. Okay, so Kimberly, you were saying that somebody was asking about the tie-ins again between possibly Luigi Mangione and the court date coming up for Luigi. Yeah. I don't know, so Luigi Mangione has a court hearing coming up in the state of New York. For those who don't know, Luigi Mangione is facing 3 different jurisdictions, the state of New York versus Luigi Mangione. That's the people versus Luigi Mangione. The Southern District of New York, which is the federal government trying Luigi Mangione in New York, and as well as the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He has a court date coming up on the 16th of September, very soon. I don't feel like this shooting is related directly to anything to do with Luigi Mangione's appearance in court. Having said that, I do think that it is very likely that a narrative is going to be spun that people like this and I won't be surprised if the media says this shooter was somehow inspired by Luigi Mangione, which will then be leading to more pressure to go throw the book at Luigi Mangione and show no leniency because people in this country are out of control because they're inspired by Luigi Mangione. Everything me, by the way, I want to address this. I know everything me has been an enigma to me because everything me is a paid member, has given big donations, has helped out, and then really upset when I keep saying that I think that that could have been an inside job. And so I invite you, everything me, for us to have that private conversation. I definitely want to give you that time for us to talk that out. So I've given you my email address. I'd love to have that conversation with you. If you want to get on Discord in a private channel, have that discussion. I want to hear you out because you're a heavy supporter of the show, and I know you don't like what I'm saying about this. So I want to hear you out. Robin, you had a comment on the other side as well, or no?
Well, you just had several nice compliments about your John Ray interview.
Cool. So we had some great comments for the people who didn't hear it on the T side. A lot of people were talking about the John Ray interview. I was super excited about that. For those who don't know, I go on YouTube by myself a lot, but then once a week I go on with another content creator on the Y side called Birdie Bombshells. He also has been on TikTok, the T side. I think he's still on the T side, isn't he? He's still posting on the T side. So both of us are in both places. I also go on. What about Pete? Is Pete on both platforms or is he only on the Y side? I don't know. So I also go on with an individual by the name of Pete Alteri. He's with Murder Metal Mayhem. That's on the Y side for sure. I don't know that he's on the T side at all. Same thing with, I don't know if AR Hayes, Convict's Thoughts. He has a Y channel. I don't know if he has a T channel. So anyways, several nights a week, I go on with other content creators and we kind of they all have their own thing and I have my own thing. But when we get together, we have a blended thing. So Birdie's a little different than my show. When we get together, it becomes this new thing. And Pete has his own thing, but when we get together, it becomes this new thing. So anyways, if you haven't checked that out, check that out. And again, we premiered John Ray's interview in the Long Island serial killer case. He's the attorney representing the families of Shannon Gilbert. It was a big deal and it was really cool.
Lee,
go ahead. Do I have Robin?
Kimberly needs you to bring her up again.
All right. We keep losing Kimberly on the side over here. Give me one moment. We're almost done. People. I want to be able to give them questions. Everything me, by the way. Again, I got you, Kimberly. Everything me. If you're still in the room, ask away if you have a question you want me to address or redirect, or if you want to do that privately. I'm making time for you, man. Making time. So
I do have a question for you from Transformer Uplifter. He wants to know if Cy Ray related to John Ray.
yeah, hold on. So hold on a second. Once again, I had two girls talking at one time and I got both of you. So Robin, let me put you on hold for just one moment. Kimberly was asking on the T side about A.R. Hayes. Yeah, he did have a surgery. He has a PICC line in. He's getting antibiotics. I think he told the story, so I don't believe I'm telling anything that he hasn't already told. He was bitten by a dog and it led to an infection. And so he's got some infection issue cleaning up and they're taking care of that. He seems to be on the road to recovery. So he was well enough to go on a show. So there's that. Frick, everything me is confusing the hell out of me. Let's get back to everything me in a minute. Let's talk about the question you said was on this side, Robin. Who was it? It was the Transformer Uplifter.
Yeah, he wanted to know if Cy Ray and John Ray might be related.
I have no reason to believe that Cy Ray in the Idaho 4 case and John Ray in the Lisk case are related. But good question. I have no reason to believe that's the case. But if anybody finds something about that, or maybe I'll have to look into it just to prove that that's not the case, because I don't know that there's any relation in that. I'm looking through. Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, Kimberly. Annie's asking for my email address. This will apply to both T and the Y side. My email address is devilsadvocates2024@gmail.com if anybody wants to email me. So devilsadvocates2024. Kimberly, go ahead. Yeah. So on the T side, they're asking how I feel about Trump's AI video. I have not seen the AI video either, so I will have to see that. I'm super curious. If you could email that to me at devilsadvocates2024@gmail.com, I'll check it out. I haven't, or I'll just Google search and see if I can find what you're talking about, but I have not seen the AI video. Let's take a look on Kimberly. Tell me if you've got something over there, but in the meantime, I'm going to look at some comments on the Y side because I can see those comments easier. Michelle's asking Renee, or saying to Renee, it would need to be simultaneous pleas with the different charges in federal and state, and I don't see him getting a better deal in a plea than going to trial. That's a more complex issue, so it sounds like you were addressing somebody else anyway, so I won't jump into your personal conversation like I just almost did. Let's see.
One has a question about the drop-off point.
Okay, I'll get to one in a second. Love always says, thank you, Lee, for all your time and energy. I finally caught a live. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I got to highlight your comment on screen. I love it when somebody comes to the live for the first time and I can put you on screen. So awesome. You got to see your first live with me. I watched you and Birdie on the channel the other night. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I guess you watched that on the replay if this is your first live. So thanks for checking in. And if you have another question, fire it at me before we check out. I'll try to give you another moment on thing. Everything me, man. I'm so freaking confused. I think you get angry at some of the things that I say, and yet you're dropping gifts and support and love. So that's amazing. It's amazing. Also confusing. We should talk sometime so I can get clear where you're at on that situation. Annie, Ruler, Gypsy, we're a good check with each other. Okay, so you guys, that's another conversation I'm watching between two other people. Here's one. How do the diverse and seemingly conflicting messages on the engraved bullets relate to Robinson's mindset and motive? So here's the thing. I mean, I don't want to get too, so yes, there's engraved messages on the bullets. The comment fascist, one could argue, is a political motivated comment, right? You're a fascist, in the political sphere, we love to throw names around that, which shows that we're ideologues. We've committed to a certain belief system, and now, according to him, he's a fascist. But it feels like something different to me. It feels like somebody is purposely trying to tie in the gaming community. There were several unrelated, they're not all fascist related sayings on the bullet engravings, which are references to gaming things. So it seems to me it's one of two things. And again, I don't want to get major conspiratorial. It's either a misdirection and they want people to go down the wrong rabbit hole by having you focus on the mystery of what was the shell casings, or there is some kind of game afoot amongst a group of gamers who are leaving little hidden gems for other gamers to figure out that this is a group of gamers pulling off assassinations and hits in this country. Is that possible? I don't know. It's possible. This shooting, you're saying, Kimberly's saying this shooting has nothing to do with Luigi. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. So let me clarify something. Yeah, let me clarify something that Kimberly is saying that's a concern over there. I am not saying this shooting is related to Luigi Mangione. What I'm saying is every time lately there's a shooting, a big shooting, they want to tie it to Luigi Mangione, they being the mainstream media and the federal government, because they're trying to make a narrative that Luigi Mangione is the most dangerous man in America. And so they're trying to make the argument, the federal government who's trying to execute Luigi Mangione is trying to do so with aggravating circumstances that says Luigi Mangione is fomenting and inspiring violence in this country. So they're going to try to use, in my opinion, they being the media is going to try to use, and the government, they are going to try to use this shooting as another example of Luigi Mangione is fomenting violence. These people are committing murders out there because they're inspired somehow by Luigi Mangione. And if they can spin the narrative that another gamer was inspired by a gamer, that's where the connection is coming. I'm not saying these people are related. I'm saying that's going to probably become one of the narratives to go after Luigi Mangione because they really are trying to execute Luigi Mangione.
I have a question over here from Gypsy about a book.
What are you saying about a book, Robin?
Gypsy has a question.
Okay.
About
Gypsy. Annie Ruler, did you catch that? Okay, that's not it. Gypsy. Wow, I've missed a lot. This is an active room tonight. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the chat. Question. Here we go. Question. DA, what's your thoughts on this book that was released by Amazon on 9/9, the day before it happened, yet includes details of his death? Yes? No? What the fuck? Well, I know what you're talking about. I saw a quick TikTok clip saying, how was this even possible? This book comes out talking about the shooting in Utah of Charlie Kirk before it happened. So all I got to say about that is exactly all I know. Somebody has alleged that a book was published with the details of the shooting before it actually happened. But I need to be super, super careful. I've seen people manipulate that shit and lie about that shit before. I can't say with certainty that book exists, that the date that they show you on TikTok exists. Everybody loves clickbait. People who are trying to get their channels paid attention to. I'm not saying it's not true. For F's sake, I need to find out if it is true, because if it is, it's like the Timothy McVeigh thing. By the way, Timothy McVeigh, who blew up the Oklahoma City bombing, there was a book written about that before it happened as well. And that is true. I did verify that one. The details of the Oklahoma City bombing, including the name of the bomber, was kind of hinted at in a book before it happened. How did that happen? So did it happen again here? I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time that shit's happened, but I got to be super careful about jumping on a story from a TikToker who's like, look, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. It's September 9th, the day before the shooting. How did it I don't know. I saw it for a second and it has the ring of like, somebody wants their 15 minutes of fame. We'll see. But maybe it's true, and I'll try to look into that. Oh, TikTok, the T platform wants me to prove that I'm still a human being. All right. Oh, and it wants me to prove it twice. Like they didn't believe me the first time, so they're going to believe me the second time? All right, they did believe me the second time. All right. I usually like to keep these shows to about an hour. And so we're about an hour. Do we have, it looks like I got another gift from Angela K on the Y side. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that so much. Again, thank you to the the T platform community who it's a small group over there, but a small but very generous group tonight. So thank you so much on both sides of the house. I want to give you guys an opportunity again for any last second or minute comments that I may want to address on either side. Robin first, do we have anything?
I'm looking here. The chat's moving kind of fast.
Kimberly, while she's looking through the thing, Kimberly, do you have anything on your side? Okay, so I'll do that on the way out. Robin, you got anything that you looked at?
No, not really.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you all for coming in and sharing your Friday evening with me. We're building a thing over here on the Y platform, and I used to be on the T platform, and I'm trying to get back on the T platform, but they suppressed me on the T platform so badly that I got frustrated and I left. But if you're on the T platform and you wanted to see the pictures that I showed on screen, and or you want to watch the replays of lives or that interview I was talking about with John Ray, which was an hour and 20 minutes. So there's two versions, by the way, of the Lisk Long Island serial killer with John Ray interview. One is just me and John for about an hour and 25 minutes, and one is the live replay that you can watch. If you go to the live tab on the Y platform, you can watch the live replay where Bertie Bombshell and I both are in the upper corner of that replay of the video, and then John Ray joins us at the end of that for live questions and answers at the end of the pre-recorded interview. Very, very cool stuff. And a lot of people who have been following that case were like, holy crap, I learned new shit. And I've been following that case for years. So it has some bombshells, some really good ones in that case. I guess that's it for now. And I'm spent. I'm going to go ahead and check out. I'm going to very soon refill my drink and end up on the Discord channel in the After Dark voice channel. I don't blame you if you get a little confused on Discord. There's a million channels. Just look for the voice channels with the little speaker icon and the one that says After Dark. We'll be over there hanging out, and we can. You'll have the open mic. And in fact, a lot of times, if you guys are all talking, I just shut up because you guys talk over me and I've already done enough talking for the night. So we'll hang out over there. If you want to ask me a question, I'll be hanging out for a while to answer questions over there as well. Thank you on both sides, T and Y. Have a great evening, great weekend, and see you guys on Monday, I guess, or maybe sooner. Talk to you later.